really amazes me, this whole flat Earth phenomenon that's blowing up, this theory that's just exploded in the alternative research community, because a lot of these researchers they don't cite anybody with a background in meteorology or physics or mechanical engineering or anything like that.
Robert Sungenis, BA, MA, PhD, geocentrist. Dr. E. Michael Jones, speaker at the 2010 conference on geocentrism. Gerardus D. Bow, PhD, former professor at the Baldwin Wallace University, geocentrist. Professor John Bill, PhD, geocentrist. Philip Stott, PhD, professor, geocentrist. In fact, according to Philip Stott here, there's another 200 impeccably credentialed academics and professors who also believe the Earth is stationary.
Yep. And beyond that,
we all miss Tiger Dan.
Yeah, definitely. I still wonder what happened to him, but anyway. But we also have Malcolm Bowden, who's a PhD, MS. He's impeccably credentialed. We have people in professional fields from the military that shoot the guns, the big guns that shoot the guns that fire over 100 miles away, testifying that there is no correction for curvature or Coriolis. We have so many pilots that are coming out now saying that you don't ever have to push your nose down to compensate for the Earth's curvature, contrary to Wolfie 6020, which said it 3 years ago, and now he's kind of backpedaling on that. But that was really stupid, because we never have. Now they just say, well, gravity does it, it's magical.
Video is filled up with all comments, from the heliocentric guys and the flat earther guy. But this is what he presents.
Okay, I am all set. All that's left for me to do is to go up the mountain so that I can take a look at the Southern Cross constellation. How about it? Will you come along? The Crux is a constellation that is unique to the Southern Hemisphere. How's the Southern Cross peculiar? The answer is very simple. It is only visible in the Southern Hemisphere. In the Northern Hemisphere, it can be seen up to 25 degrees north. I live in the Canary Islands, in Grand Canary, actually. This island is located at 28 degrees north. In theory, I am too far north to be able to see the entire constellation. According to Stellarium, only Juxta Crucem, Decrux, Gacrux, and Mimosa are visible. A crux, however, is below the horizon line. Theoretically, that's how it is, but not in practice. Currently, I am at 1,929 meters above sea level. I'm not sure this can be seen here. I think it can. South is straight ahead. At this very moment, we can see the red line. I hope it can be seen here. This red line is the horizon and the Southern Cross. In 2 to 3 hours, we will see above the red line, which is the horizon from my standpoint, we will be able to see the Southern Cross emerge. Alright then, this is the last picture. We have the Southern Cross above the horizon. So, mission accomplished. Goal achieved. We have seen the Southern Cross.
Wow.
Finish there.
Well, that's pretty good, Eru.
Thank you, man.
and absolutely impossible on a globe.
Yeah, I'd never heard that was possible from the north. I've always heard people had seen, Polaris from below the equator, but I had never heard of anybody doing it the opposite. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially 20 plus degrees. That's insane.
28.
But doesn't the cross go around the southern celestial pole?
Theoretically, yeah, but it's still theoretically centered around a hypothetical pole star, right? Which does not exist, by the way. Yeah, so this is it. It's very cool. But yeah, you watch this whole thing, and it's like, well, wait a minute, where's the pitch change? How is that possible? Where's the pitch change? There is no pitch change. Well, that tells me that any pitch change we perceive is when we're on the ground, and it is our perspective from our eye that brings in the lower part of our vision and the upper part of our vision and brings it down towards the center part of our vision, is what actually causes that theoretical optical phenomenon to happen. But when you are actually up there on an airplane and you're watching it, there is no change in attitude, which to me is, I mean, this is such a killer. This is such a ball killer. It's beyond belief.
Here's how ridiculous it is. 100,000 miles per hour, which is insane, right? No human's ever gone that fast. That's 75 times the speeding bullet. So oops, Austin, I did see you, and then you left. Imagine that.
Yeah, my whole system's just echoing like crazy when I have that up.
Yeah, it's going to echo. Just mute it. Because you're going to be talking on Skype, just sharing the picture on my screen. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Just mute the whole thing so you can't hear me, or mute that tab. So 100,000 miles per hour, that's insane. But let's say we could go that fast, and we need to get to the nearest star. So we're just going to the closest star out of all the stupid thousands and billions of light years. We're just going to the closest one, which is only 4 light years away, right? So 100,000 miles an hour, how long did it take us to get there? So you take that 100,000 miles per hour times 24 to get how much we go in a day. That's like 2 point something million, times that by 365, and we get 867 million miles per year. Okay, that's how far we would go. Divide the 25 trillion miles by that, and you get 28,000 years. So going 100,000 miles per hour, it would take us 28,000 years just to get to the closest star. So that should deem the entire practice as the most ridiculous undertaking of humans ever. To even look into it, to even talk about it, to put any money towards it is a sign of our stupidity.
But you need to start
No, we
at
don't.
some point.
No, you don't. Until humans are living half that long. Okay, so when humans are living 15,000 years, maybe I'll allow us to start paying attention to that.
Religion disguised as science. So we have, of course, heliocentrism has never been proven. It is a religion. And of course, the modern world teaches it as if it is definitive fact, and we were all taught that from like 5 years old up. But you will be surprised to find out throughout these quotes that, in fact, that is not the case. So, kind of summary of the entire idea here. I can construct for you a spherically symmetrical universe with Earth at its center, and you cannot disprove it based on observations. You can only exclude it on philosophical grounds. In my view, there's absolutely nothing wrong in that. What I want to bring out in the open is the fact that we are using philosophical criteria in choosing our models. A lot of cosmology tries to hide that. That's infamous physicist George F.R. Ellis. And so that is, in fact, what all this boils down to. So to just make sure everyone understands, it's called the Copernican principle, which is the idea that the Earth is insignificant. It does not occupy a special or unique position in the universe, and it's merely insignificant. And due to immense odds, eventually, of course, it would happen. So that's the philosophy that they hold to, because the other option, of course, is that the Earth is special and does occupy a unique position, and thus it would have to be created.
And let me just say that, because I think this is one of the quotes that got me big time. And I like George Ellis. If you never listened to George Ellis, he's a mainstream physicist. I mean, he believes mostly mainstream, but he's also a little bit religious or spiritual. And he's the most level-headed of all, physicists, astrophysicists. When you listen to him speak, he always tries to bring it back. I think he's still pro geocentrism. He can't say that, but he tries to push this idea that and he's anti-multiverse, anti-bubble universe. Anything that can't be proven, he says, is just science going in the wrong direction, and we're letting them fall apart. But anyway, back to what he said here. This is the same thing, branching off of Edwin Hubble's thing, that the observations say we are the center, or could be the center. Let's just leave it at that. It doesn't say for sure, because there could be something else that it says. But because they didn't want that, based on philosophical grounds, they changed it and said, well, what are the other possibilities? And that's when somebody came up with this idea of the raisin bread, right? If you bake raisin bread, all the raisins get further away from each other. Or if you put a bunch of dots on a balloon and blow the balloon up, all the dots get further away from each other. So that idea, just that mental idea, there's no evidence of that. It's just, okay, this is what we want. And so we'll say that that's what's happening. And then they do all their science from there. So when you talk about scientists have no bias, it's the entirety of science is based on a bias. The entirety of everything tests that they do, every experiment they do, is with the implied bias that philosophically we cannot be the center.